Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Look what I've got. Oh yes please. I'm down here at Harley Davidson Watford and the guys have lent me this. This is the brand new for 2021 Harley Davidson Sportster S, and I've got it for a good couple of hours, so I'm going to tell you what I think of it, what it rides like, if it's as good as it looks, because I don't know about you lot, but I think it looks really cool. So this is a bit of a new move for Harley. This is, you probably recognise this is the 1250 Revolution Max engine that's in the Pan America. The difference with this one, this is the 1250T, so it's retuned for like a lower down grunt. So it's 121 horsepower, I think it's around 125 foot-pounds of torque or something like that. I'll put it on screen now. And I think my favourite angle is that. I know it's on its side stand at the moment, but I think that angle looks really sleek. So height wise, as I've said in a couple of my videos, I'm 5'9", about 31-32 inch inseam. Please don't reverse into me, and more than easily flat footing. Shall I move out the way for him? So keyless ignition, just so I don't get run over. That is a really nice little dash, actually, very clear. 248 miles. I think it's like a 4-inch TFT, which is around, but actually really nice. Got a fuel gauge in the corner here. You got your time, obviously your Oddo, you got your riding modes. Let's bring it to life, shall we? It's a bit louder than I thought it was going to be. Let's just give it a quick walk around. It's got the standard side stand from Harley where it feels like it's going to fall. That's quite loud, I like that. It's got a lot of noise. So you got this lovely LED front headlight. If I put that on, you've got the actual full LED headlight, which is lovely. There's an LED tail light down the back here, which again looks really nice, really sleek. I don't think these indicators are LED. No, I'm wrong, they are LED. I just think it looks really cool, doesn't it? Straight into gear. Lovely little gear indicator down the bottom here. Do you know what? I like this already. So normally I'd say the Sportster S would be, or the Sportster range should be a competitor for like the Triumph Bobber ranges, the Indian Scouts maybe. That car sounded awful. This much power and this sort of muscle cruiser vibe that it's going for now, I'd say it's almost more FTR 1200, which is definitely not a bad thing. Talking about the Indian FTR, I obviously rode my dad's one a couple of weeks back now, which is obviously quite good timing, isn't it? Just from the off, I'm not sure whether I'd have the forward controls or the mid controls. I think I'd be more tempted to go for the mids, just because you can stand up over bumps. You can't really stand up, well you can actually, that sort of was okay. Oh, okay. I'll see what this is about. So it's got a radially mounted Brembo caliper on the front on a single disc. Obviously the rear is a single Brembo disc as well. Position wise, I'm actually really comfortable. Right, should we give it a bit of the old beans? I say that every time I come around this corner, don't I? Right, so 30 mile an hour. It is windy, I'm in the wind, obviously. It's a completely naked bike, but actually it's bar my head being pulled back a bit by this peak, it's actually really comfortable to ride, like really comfortable. There's loads of grunt there, like you look down and you're like, oh wow, I'm going that quick. It's obviously got cruise control and it's not a bad position to ride in, you know. Let's lean her in. So first impressions of leaning it into a corner, I'm not scraping pegs or anything, which is a bit more confidence inspiring when hitting those pegs. Because it has got really chunky tyres, as you can see out the front, it does take a little bit more, I don't know, not encouragement, but sort of a bit of persuasion to lean into a corner. I can't get over how fat that front tyre is, look at it. I was having a chat with the sales manager before I came out at Harley Davidson Watford. Really nice guy. He used to work at BMW, and he had to deal with me sort of debating whether I was going to buy an R9T for about 2 years. So I do appreciate the time he gives me. And he was saying there's so many bikes on the market now that are phenomenal, like really, really good, but they just don't really tug on the heartstrings anymore. You've also got the bikes that are 200 odd horsepower that will do 100 mile an hour in first gear. You're spending too much time at license losing speeds. Thanks for the late notice there, bro. I just think this, the R9T, the FTR 1200, all of these types of bikes with that mid 100 to 130 horsepower, I think will be like incredible for a weekend black bike. Oh! The switchgear are quite scattergunned in a way. It's a bit better than the Pan Am, just because the Pan Am was a little bit like you couldn't really see everything, whereas here I can actually see everything. So this TFT's got Bluetooth connectivity, so you can connect your phone to it, you can connect your Senna to it and everything, or Pack Talk, and then there's a button down here, I don't know if you can see that, for voice commands, which is just, that's an incredible difference between the last Harley Sportsters, I think, were 85 horsepower and very basic bikes. They were almost like an entry Harley, I think. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Having that much power and then also having all the technology is just, it's a completely different bike. So the only real negative, I think, is the fact that the tank's quite small. I think it's only like 11.8 litres or 12 litres or something like that. Why is that so jacked up at the back? Why do I not trust this guy? I will bring you back after I've hit some windy roads, because I think that is where this is going to shine. But before we do, just because we're in a tunnel, so the only thing, it is keyless, but like a lot of bikes, you need the key to open the fuel tank. Little bit irritating, but meh, not the end of the world. Can't wait for people to kick off that I'm filling a bike up while sitting on it. I got just shy of 10 litres in there. It's not too bad, to be fair. That side stand does feel like you're about to drop it. Yeah, look at it. Now let's see if it registers a full range straight away. Power on. 93 miles. Just sitting here while I'm doing my gloves up. The pipe is right on your leg, so this does get quite warm, and they stick out quite a way. It's not the end of the world, but it's sort of, it's fine. I'm just moaning for moaning's sake. The one thing I have noticed as well is it pops a lot. It just, on the decel, it just pops so much. It sounds nice, but I do think you'd probably stick an aftermarket set of pipes on straight away. See what Bikestop think of it, shall we? So that was a resounding yes from Bikestop. One thing I have noticed just sitting here is there's quite a lot of heat coming off it. So what have we got in this dash? You've got your navigation, you've got your music, you've got all the bike stuff, which gives you all your tyre pressure monitors and all that kind of stuff. Rider modes, you've got 2 custom modes, which is nice. Screen brightness, Bluetooth, phone notifications. There's loads in this screen. Yeah, a lot of time for that. The thing that I really like is it's got a mode button. Rain, road, sport. In sport mode, the throttle is so much more reactive. The only real negatives I can sort of foresee, the tank's a little bit small. It would have been nice if that was maybe like a 14-15 litre, but then I think that takes away from the look of the bike. And then the only other negative is the heat coming off this exhaust. But then that's like so many bikes now. All of the Triumph Scramblers have exactly the same thing, and it's always this sort of side mounted exhaust, so you always will feel the heat. On the road, these are about like 13.7 or 13.9, which is exactly the price range for most of the bikes in this category. I'd get the mid controls just because I think a position like that would be a bit more my style, but I completely get these front controls. It's comfortable. I want to be a little bit, it's probably throwing back to my motocross days, to be fair, but I quite like being like this kind of thing, like squatted on the bike. I know you can't really see that, but the one thing that's also really good is, you know, on the Pan America and on the Indian, I said that the writing on the screen was way too small. This is fine. Like, you get your range on there, you've got your fuel gauge if you don't want to look at your range, you've got your trips and everything all in there, and your odometer, and it's not too small, which is really good. Like, that's one thing I said on both the Indian and the Pan America, it was too small, like, even for my eyes. It might be because I'm closer to the screen, if that makes sense, because I'm more leant towards it. These roads are so slippy. Like, if I just, the wheels just spinning up. I don't know what these tyres are, but they're not, I think you'd probably stick some better tyres on it maybe, just for a bit more grip, because this wet, slimy kind of road surfaces aren't the most confidence inspiring on them. Oh, that's quite a nice place for a picture, I think. Hopefully then no cars come along here. Oh, that is a shot and a half. Got some nice little photos. Cool, this thing picks up, man. It just spins up the rear wheel. Harley Davidson, you have created an absolute blinder. The gearbox is actually really quite nice. There's occasionally first into second is a bit difficult to do. It feels like you need to pull up a little bit harder, but it's just getting used to how the bike rides. It's comfortable, it's loaded with tech. Tell me what you think, but I think it looks awesome. For me, Harleys are normally the generic Harleys that everyone seems to know. They're not really my style. Some people love them, it's just not really me. This kind of thing, everything someone like me wants. This is what Harley need to do, and this is what they've done. Get the interest of people like me who aren't necessarily their standard Harley customers. With a Pan Am and now this. I mean, look, 35 mile an hour onto the motorway. The brakes, I know it's only a single front disc, but I've had absolutely no problems with them, and I think also because it's not a huge amount of suspension travel, the bike doesn't dive too much. They've got ample there. Overall synopsis of the bike, I think it's a cracking bit of kit. Harley have listened to what people have been saying and sort of what the customers want. 120 horsepower, a shed load of torque, proper little muscle cruiser, and it's got a load of tech in it, so it's worth paying the money for it. Most of these bikes I ride, I don't think I'd actually put my hand in my pocket and buy one, but this one I think I actually would. There was a comment before in one of my videos complaining about Harley reliability, or making a joke about Harley reliability, maybe 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. Well, all I can say is if they've listened to everything that we've said and everything that is said about Harleys for this bike, surely they've done something about the reliability front as well. I've tried to end this video about 3 times now, but I just keep getting carried away. Let's see what it's like filtering, shall we? There's so much noise. I'm very, very smitten with this thing. I think they've done a very good job of it. I mean, the customer service is second to none, if you ask me. I'm genuinely being serious. Their customer service at Harley, Watford anyway, has just been absolutely outstanding. The only things I'd change, mid pegs, probably a different exhaust, just because I'm going to do that on my bike anyway. And I think everything else, I mean, even these are so much nicer, like these grips are so much nicer than the like the ones on the FXDR. The ones on the FXDR were a little bit like plastic looking, but these aren't at all. I'm convinced I'm going to burn my leg on this pipe though. If you get the time, come and visit these guys over at Harley Watford. I know I've said it a couple of times now, but they are hands down the nicest guys ever. They're such a lovely dealer. Thank you for joining me, and I will I'll see you in the next video. Yeah, a lot of time for that. Goodbye.